why, if I should be speaking to the white chairs, they look so beautiful on that side. Hi guys, how are you? Look, I'm sure it's been a very long day for all of you to be here from 8 a.m. in the morning till now. We call this the graveyard shift. There are two shifts that are absolutely terrible for anyone who wants to speak. The first is immediately after lunch, and the second is towards the end of the day because everybody's mind is tired. And so sometimes when they ask us, when do you want to address the crowd, when do you want to speak? Oftentimes we would love to do that in the morning when everybody is sharp, your head is fresh, and all of that. Because now I have this task of not only keeping those who have been fasting awake, I have to also keep those who have had lunch awake. And then very tired minds, and I have to speak intelligently. But there's a good point as well. It means that when people are tired, anything I say goes. Because then the cat assimilates too much. So I can do a very bad job and you wouldn't know. I could do an excellent job and guess what? You wouldn't know either. So I have to do an excellent job regardless. I asked Lamide, I said, what exactly would you want me to talk about today? And she said, just motivate me. Why? And why did I ask that question? A lot of times, whenever I'm asked, come and speak, the topic is almost always the same. How did you start? How did you grow? And so on and so forth. It's almost always the same. Sometimes it must get boring for even me. I want to be able to come into a place and learn things from people. Feed off you, even as I feed you. That's what it's all about. I want to know that by the time I have finished today, I have not only taught, but I've also learned. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to learn very quickly from you. I want to keep you awake. So I want to know certain things from you and then I'll take it on from me. Certain things that I've learned along life about Nigerians. So before I start, the first question is there anyone who is not a Nigerian here? No offense meant. Are we all Nigerians? You're not. Yeah. Sir, don't know? Alright, there's another Solomon there, so and he refused to put up his hand, but I know him. Now, why do I know that? Sorry, who else? Alright. Now, before you think that I am being, what's the word? Racist or exclusionist, just so that you understand. I have relatives from Sierra Leone as well. Okay? So I'm Nigerian, I'm Sierra Leonean, I'm a lot of things. That's who I am. So, but let me just tell you about my Nigerian part. So one of the things that I have found out about Nigerians is a question that I will ask you, and let me see how many hands will go up. I found this about Nigerians, and maybe it's what helps us succeed. I don't know. Now, how many of you here want to own your own businesses? Let me see. Don't be ashamed. Let me see the hands. Let them see. Okay. So, about 70% want to own their own businesses. In other words, how many of you want to be entrepreneurs? Let me see. Alright, roughly the same. Is there a difference between entrepreneurs and owning businesses? Some say yes, some say no. Alright. How many people want to be employed for life? In other words, till they retire. That's what life means in employment. Let me see your hands. You have no problem earning a salary from somebody for the rest of your life. 2, 3. All right. Why do I ask these questions? Now you're all going to run a business. All of you. Here. Where are you going to find the people that you would employ? Where would you find your staff? Now understand this and understand it about Nigerians. Every single Nigerian you employ, every single Nigerian that you employ comes to you on the basis that they want to set their own business, even if they don't tell you. You must understand it. We all interview, we all look for work, not because we want to build a career in that establishment, but no, we're going there so that we can just take it as a stepping stone towards setting up our own business. Is there anything wrong with it? No, there's nothing wrong with that, except that if you understand and you can put it, there's something called integrity. If you can put your integrity down right from the start, I don't have a problem with you. But what do you find a lot of times when you're employed is that people come, and I ask them, I always ask them the same question, So where do you see yourself in 10 years, 15 years in this establishment? Oh, we want to be this. There's nobody that I know, very few of them that I'm speaking to, that has an intention of spending 5 years, if at all, with you. In 5 years' time, they want to be you, over times 10, over. In fact, you are nobody compared to where they want to be in 5 years. Nothing wrong with that again, but understand that it's step by step. Nothing wrong. So this is who we are. As Nigerians, we all want to be our own bosses. It's what makes us who we are. What's another thing that I've noticed about us? Nigerians like to move. We don't like to stay in one place. Go into any country in this world, you find a Nigerian. In fact, give any Nigerian an opportunity today to travel, he's gone. She's gone. They don't like to stay in one place. Which means that in the businesses that you are looking for, and in the things that you are going to set up, you must always try to find a way for your own sake, if you are going to be a businessman, to find a way for your own sake to ensure that your people have the opportunity every now and then to travel. Encourage them. If not, they will start stealing from you so that they can travel. There are certain things that we do. There are certain things that we look out for in every business. And one of the greatest things that I have found that I must fight, and you must fight, is something called the perception factor. I've given you two things about Nigerians. One, that we like to be, we all want to be our own business people, business owners, and we like to travel. Every Nigerian, at the same time, believes that they want to make a lot of money. They believe that money is extremely important. Now, is money important? Yes, it is. Is it extremely important? Yes, it is. But where does this start going wrong? How do you make it? How quickly do you think you must make it? In what way and manner, and what would you do for you to get and make money? Now, when we combine all of these things together, a desire to run one's own business, a need to travel to see the best, to get the best, to buy the best, to own the best, to be the best, maybe not to be the best. But all the material things that come with the money before being the best, you add all of those together, and then you now put that, get it anyhow, anyway. Then you have a potential mix of danger. And that danger brings the perception that we all fight. Now, where does this perception now come into trouble? Where does it give you a problem? Very simply this. As you begin, and we all will, begin to expand and grow from one level of business to another, you then find that the way that we are created, remember what I said, the first thing is that everyone wants to set up their own business. The second thing is that we all like to travel. The third is that we all want to make money. Those three things, by nature, means that every single Nigerian entrepreneur, without realizing it, already has a global mindset. He has a mindset that wants to see his business or her business outside the shores of where they operate. There's almost no business person that I know And none of you, anyone who is doing business inclusive, that does not have in their mind, has not yet understood how, but does not have in their mind that, why can I not take my business and establish a branch in London, or establish a branch in New York, or do one in Ghana? I don't know any. Because this is how we are structured. We are wired that way. But what we tend to forget is that a lot of the things that we do when we're small ends up becoming a bigger problem for us as we begin to grow. And so tomorrow, you set up your business, as we did. And you get up and you move, and you go out. And then you then find out that you have a bigger barrier to fight. As a business, we were less than 3 years old as a business when I was already out in Ivory Coast, in Ghana, in Senegal, trying to do business that I would say at the time I did not have the capacity to do, but I had the typical Nigerian belief that there is nothing that you cannot do. So I'll be sitting in front of the man and I'll be telling him that, what do you need? You want crude oil? I can get it. I have no idea where crude oil will come from, but I will get it. Typical Nigerians, we do that all the time. But when I'm asked today and I look back and I say, if I was given it at the time, and this way I thank God, I heard the last speaker talking about having God and faith as very important in your business. I thank God that I didn't get it then, because if I did, I would have destroyed my reputation completely. Because they will give me a contract that I cannot perform, a contract for which I will tell them that I can do and I will not do. And so, we had to build slowly. But later on in life, I travel. So we have a business in Singapore, for example. So I open up, which I do. So we open an office in Singapore. And I get to Singapore, and the first thing that happens when we get into Singapore and we want to open an office in Singapore is that everybody is looking at you and they're saying that, where do you come from? You come from Nigeria. And the minute they hear that you come from Nigeria, they start shutting down every, you just see their eyes, just goes down, shutters in their eyes. And you immediately know that these shutters are coming down because somebody somewhere has carried a reputation that has nothing to do with you ahead, that as far as they're discussing with anybody that says that he's a Nigerian and you're coming to set up an office in Singapore, the only thing that you're coming there to do is to come and chill. And this continues in every nation that you go. So how do you, in your own generation, begin to change it? So I have an office in Singapore. We're probably the only Nigerian company there. I sit down with the Singapore government agency that has to deal with investment. And I say to them that Nigeria is full of opportunities. It is extremely important that you come to Nigeria and you convince Nigerian companies to do business going into Singapore and opening up business in Singapore. I spent a long time doing that. They agree that they should come to Nigeria. And then they go onto the internet to search about Nigeria. And then they come back to me after a couple of years. They start coming to Nigeria. They start coming to Africa. And then after about 3 years, they come back and they say, we opened an office in Ghana. And I said, why did you go to Ghana? And they say, because of the reputation that your country has. A year and a half later, they come back to me in the office and we're talking, and they said, we think we made a mistake by going to Ghana. And I said, why did you make a mistake by going to Ghana? Because the market is in Nigeria. Yeah, but reputation killed you. I say these things because I need you to understand that for you to really for you to really be successful in the business that you want to do, no matter what it is, the reputation that you start off with now is extremely important for you tomorrow. You may think that it does not affect you, what Mr. A or Mr. B is doing, of which you know, but you say nothing about. Of which you know, but you say nothing about. But it affects you. Why? 25 years ago. No, maybe not. 25 years ago, I left University of Lagos. I left University of Lagos, having studied architecture, and graduated okay. I graduated with a merit, which means that I came out with something like, I came to a 2-1 in architecture. I left architecture, I left University of Lagos, went into Brazil, and more or less got a job immediately once I got there. I've been working since I was working before I graduated from school, but I've also been working since I left school till now. So getting a job was not a problem and all of that. So as far as I was concerned, I didn't have a problem because I could get a job, I could work and all of that, and I started my own business and all. So it wasn't a problem. However, when we left school, while we were still in school, while I was still in the University of Lagos at that time, we used to travel for summer every single year into London and all of that. My friends, my own friends, people I knew, started doing then what you call today credit card fraud, stealing, using credit cards and all of that. We knew. We saw it. We kept quiet. Going to the post office and getting work in the post office was about the best thing that anybody could do. Why? Because they will be in the post office and they will be checking for cards. And they will get cards and they will come out with those cards and they will use those cards and they will buy all the designer clothes and all of that, and then they will come back to Navy Life and they will use the designer clothes and they will spend money on all the women and buy cards and all of that using cards. This was 25 years ago. At the time that I'm talking about, you would get into England and it was not a problem for you to travel there. You would walk into England and you have an NI number immediately just by going to the hospital, going to the clinic, and they will give you a number. You will take that number and you go and go and get a job. We were all doing it, we kept quiet. 10 years after that, no Nigerian could open an account. Once you entered any bank with a Nigerian passport, you could not open an account in England. So when I was about to start this business, and we tried to open an account of which it is vital and important to open, you cannot do the oil and gas business at an international level without a foreign account, because the entire business is done in dollars. And we tried to open an account. Guess what? Who are you? What's your name? What passport do you carry? No account. They threw us out of banks one after another. Why? What you sow, you will reap. And sowing does not mean that you alone are the one doing it all. I can stand here and tell you that I didn't have the guts. I thought my father would kill me, so I didn't have the guts to do what they were doing. But did I know them? Yes. Did I keep quiet? Absolutely. So by keeping quiet, there's something in law for those who are lawyers. What's it called? Accessory to crime? Accessory. So the fact that you know and you keep quiet does not absolve you of the crime. But we kept quiet. A lot of what we suffered, what we are suffering today, came because we kept quiet. How much would you suffer tomorrow because you know things for which you are keeping quiet about? We think it does not affect us. It does. It does. So when I'm asked today, where do I think my business should be? I came from an interview earlier on today. And the space started off by saying that the phenomenal growth, the base of your business, and I said to them, shh, slow down. Because I know that where I am, where we ought to be, in a different environment, there's no way that we will be where we are today. If we use the same energy, the same entrepreneurial skills, and believe me, let me tell you this about you as Nigerians. In the entire continent, in the entire world of which I have traveled a lot, there are only 2 places that I have seen entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs, people who have in them what you would call an entrepreneurial spirit. There are 2 places, 2 in Africa, 1 in the world. The US, Nigeria, and to a lesser extent, Kenya. Everywhere in the world, if I find an entrepreneur, and a real one, a true entrepreneur, you will find that it's either a Nigerian or an American. Of the Americans, most of them who are entrepreneurs, check them out, most of them are Jews as well. Understand something about who you are. God has given you something which has created another nation called the United Nations, or United States, sorry. The same thing that you have, another country has taken exactly the same thing and has transformed it to becoming the greatest country in the world. And what they have is no different from what you have. Listen to me well. What they have is no different than what you have. And so when you understand this, and I can give you some examples, take any Nigerian, anyone, any one of you, take any one of you, remove you from this same environment that you're in, carry you and plant you inside the same environment in the US, school, and begin to see what happens. Go and check out most of your school results, and you find out that most of the people who are coming out with the degrees, who are coming out top in their class, and all of that, are Nigerians. It's what you have. It is what you have, it's what I have. There is an understanding and a spirit that there is nothing that is impossible for us. Amidst the odds that we face in this country, we still succeed when we put our minds straight. There is nothing that a Nigerian will do that he does not succeed at. Nothing. And believe me, when I say nothing, nothing. The day that we decide that we want to go into 419, we went in until the bank collapsed the entire thing because we did it too much. It's who we are. Indians were getting passports, and Pakistanis were getting passports in England for a long time before you knew anything about it. They will use the same name. The same name. Singh. It's a common name. It's a name like calling somebody Ade in Nigeria. And they use the same name to get the same passport, and they just use it over and over and over again. They were doing it in England for years, and they were using it to bring more and more Indians into. The Nigerians entered into the passport business. England had to go and give out, they had to develop chip for passports so that Nigerians should stop. Anything you decide to do, you do it excellently well. And the prayer that we've always prayed is that we will now take this same skill that we have and begin to put it into the right use. Because the day that we do, the day we begin to understand that we have exactly the same skills, exactly. But once you can put it in the right use, nobody will catch this country. You keep hearing about it. Nigeria, land of opportunity. Nigeria, the potentials. Everybody keeps talking about the potentials you have, potentials you have. Why is it that God decided that when He was going to make this entire continent of Africa, He decided to carry, of all the people, now not overpopulate. He populated Nigeria in such a way that there are 4 Nigerians to every 1 African. Is it that God did not understand that Benin Republic was just next to us and that He could have spread people to Benin? Benin. again, same latitude as you. Same latitude. In fact, in most cases, same language. If you don't know, get to Benin, they are speaking Yoruba just like you. And yet, the entire country's population is not Lekki. Why? God did not make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake. He understood why he populated us as he did. Why he brought us as we are. Why he gave us the spirit of entrepreneurship as he did. Why he made us traders as we are. But we have to begin to be wise with what we do. I will round up by telling you this, just so you understand who you are, so that you can carry it through. Just like every other Nigerian, I believe you are like me. We like to travel. And so we travel a lot. And I travel a lot more than most. Like anybody who travels, when you do travel, try and be observant. So I try to be observant. I open my eyes and I ask questions. And in all my travels, let's keep it to Africa first of all. In all my travels around Africa, I began to observe one thing. I observed first of all that one, there's no African country, I'm not even talking about Africa, there's no African country that I have been to that I have not encountered Nigerians, a Nigerian at least. That's number one. And then number two, I begin to ask questions. And I find out that there's no African country that I have been to that the people themselves are not in awe or afraid or in awe or afraid of Nigerians. And so I ask questions again. Why are they in awe or why are they afraid of Nigerians? I hear the same thing over and over again. One, that you are too aggressive. In other words, when you go into a place, you want to take over the entire place and say, okay, is that a good or bad thing? I say, okay. It sounds like a good positive. So you're aggressive. You go into a place, you want to take over the place. All right. So they're in awe of you about that. Say, what else? Now, not only do you want to take over the place, there are certain things that you do take over. I say, okay, what are these things that you do take over? And then I find out, whether you know it or not, that anywhere that you find these Nigerians that have gone and settled in these places, that the people of that country cannot buy or sell spare parts without them. They buy and sell spare parts without these Nigerians? Really? What else? Anything that has to do with electronics, flat screen, latest, they're the ones selling it. So you cannot import or buy merchandise without these Nigerians in control of that area. So, wow, we do that? Yes, we do. I go to the local market whenever I go into a country for the first time. Because I want to find out from the market the pulse of the country. You should do that as well. You will hear a lot in the market, in taxis. And so I go into the market and I start asking questions. And you find out that if you go into the electronics market and all of that, that it's controlled by Nigerians, they're the wholesalers, they're the retailers, they control that entire market. You find out that when you go into the second-hand market, clothes, Nigerians are controlling it. You find out electronics, DVDs, movies, Nigerian movies, they control all of that. But most importantly, I also found out that when you go into the market, especially here in West Africa, and you go to where they sell food, the wholesalers that are buying and selling, and the market women in those markets are Yorubas. What does it tell you about you as a people? Not only are you adaptable, when you understand what you are called to be, you take it over. The main problem that a lot of us have is that we forget who we are and we want to be somebody else. Never forget who you are. The Igbos have their own skills and they do it extremely well. The Yorubas have their own And they do it extremely well when they want to. So do the answers. Every single person has what God has given to us, and that's what makes us beautiful as a nation when we understand it. But today we are fighting each other because we think that what we have is exclusive and we don't need anybody else. Not true. So, I'm a Nigerian businessman and I travel. I have an entrepreneurial spirit and I understand it. I go all over the world and I'm not intimidated by anyone. Nobody. Not white, not Chinese, not black. Why? Because I have come to understand perfectly, that God never made a mistake when one, he made me Nigerian, two, he put me in this country, and three, he gave me the skills that he has given to me. It means that I can look anyone in the eye and tell them that one-on-one, every single day, if you try to do what I'm doing, you will fail. It doesn't matter who you are. Because this is what God is. Thank you.